Right, excuse the mess, but headset covered up at the minute. I have it linked to 3 retractors for the main, so I can get right the way across the room and back without pulling too much. A secondary retractor that works as a back pull, even though it's in front of the 3, to a third that works for the right hand side of the room, and another that works as a retraction if you were to go to the left. These all swing on little carabiners. They're attached to the roof by 3M stickies that come with the kit. I'll show you. After that, it's just across the ceiling. Excuse the messy wiring, but the wires didn't go in the way I wanted. To an HDMI junction, which I'll link. And these are the green extension cables. They are semi-powered, but you do not need to use them. Looking around, that's where it comes out. Yeah, it's a bit messy, but it's only a temporary setup at the moment. I'm having trouble getting cable bindings that I can use that fit the cable and the extension properly. So from the front, we've got the primary sensor to the secondary front sensor. The important part here is to make sure that at least one of the sensors is down towards waist level and the other one is up high. It helps to give you a full field of view. After that, I have a third sensor around at the back. They say you can use 4, however, to be honest, 3 works well. 2 worked okay. When you're setting it up for 360, your first off important thing I was telling you about is the Oculus tool tray. I will give you a link for it, but if you're only getting this video, pause now. That will give you a download that you can click on for the Oculus tool tray. Oculus tool tray I'll just bring up. I've got mine running. You have your various settings. You'll find videos on this online where you can add profiles. Super sampling if you've got the RAM to do it. I've got mine at 1.2 because otherwise it taxes the 8 gig that I've got at the moment. ASW is set to auto because one of the tutorials told me to do that. The Oculus library, you can set and you can add specific games that don't want to add. It's quite handy. As you go down, you get your tray tool where you can change various options. Power options, that's quite important. Because one of the things you'll usually get is this. Something is running power management, which means it can randomly turn down the power the amount of times it checks it, and that for your sensors can be a pain in the ass. So all you would do is right click, disable power management, and that's it sorted for that particular time. That just runs in the backdrop. Right, moving on to what I use to extend. First off, the signal booster. These are quite cheap. This is the one that was tested and definitely worked. Signal booster, standard HDMI to HDMI. Note the input and the output, it only works one way, as I found out. Next is your extension cables. There are a number of different ones, but U-Green is the one that everybody agrees works great for all VR. Now you'll notice I had a really long one, and they say you can't extend it that far. Yeah, well, my longest cable is running 10 meters of extension plus the 5 meters from the Oculus sensor, and it holds fine. So they're not the cheapest. UK price of $24.99. I will include a link for that. The next one was just a couple of 5 meter U-Green once again. Now, it says that you can power them in addition. Don't bother, because all it does is messes things up. Next, for your sensors, for fitting them to the wall, they all have standard camera mounts when they unscrew from the little black poles, which is great because they fit on standard security and camera mounts. So I went for something reasonably cheap, Just this 3-pack of wall security mounts. It was $7.99. You can get white, you can get black. I'll just swing up the cupboard to show you one up. That's one up close. I've only chucked one screw in for now because it copes to the wall very well, and it just fits straight on, and the retention screw screws up to hold it in place. Now to the juicy part. The retraction system. You can actually buy it now as a kit. This is Newsarol, whatever that is. Lanyards, adhesive hooks, and the little carabiners. That's essentially what you get. What you do with it is up to you. As you saw, I have 3 running on one to provide a nice, long, easy retractor. I could do it with 2, but it was a bit taut on the pull. These things just literally stick to anywhere. The only advice I will give you, when you choose to stick those pads, make sure they're in the right place, because once they're on, they ain't coming off. As for the layout of that, like I say, I will put a link in for you. I have mine set up. As you notice, I changed my light. Just drop down here so you can see the ceiling. I have mine set up in a kind of square configuration. That light I can get a link for as well if needs be. The lens in it is flexible, so if you have a reasonably low ceiling like me, you can punch it and it isn't going to break. It's also pretty damn bright. So looking at where the Oculus is, my play set runs that way towards the bookcase. So I have the wires coming across to the first link, to the second link, and then it comes back to around about the center line of the room again to those 2 that act as the main retention. What you end up from that is, as you saw in the other little video of my willing assistant, or unwilling, you get a full range of motion. You can pretty much go and move anywhere you want to within your area. I'm pushing the limits from sensor to sensor well past what Oculus says should work, and it works flawlessly. Going back to this light, these are just cheap ones from Amazon. I can link, and as you see, it moves, so it doesn't matter if it gets walloped. Which, as you can see, I was playing Gorn and did whack it one. But yeah, that'd be about it. The reason I have so many cables is because my computer is resided to the cupboard. So everything comes in through the hole in the wall, across the ceiling. You'll see the other smaller extension. Down, under, and into my messy wiring rig.